Hello, everyone. A warm welcome to our Women Together Connect. My name is Antoinette, and it's wonderful to be here. I'm a host of our Women Together sessions, and it's so good to see everyone. So a warm welcome. If you've been here every week, I think many of us have. We have a lovely little group, and I know more of us are going to keep streaming in. So we can do a little hello in the chat. So whether you're on Zoom or you're in YouTube, you can just go ahead and type in a little hello and share where you're coming from. That's a good place for us to start. I love our little sessions because it's just an hour of the week that gives us a chance to reconnect with each other, to reconnect with ourselves. And today feels a bit special because it's been 2 years since we've been gathering like this. Yeah, so it's been 2 years. Something to celebrate. It's been 2 years since we have been coming together week after week. And there's something that feels like it is an acknowledgement of the time that we've spent together, but also the evolution of the way that we convene together. And I think for many of us who've been coming week after week, we've been really connecting with each other and connecting to deeper layers of conversation and connection, and really opening up spaces of new conversation, slowly but surely. So Francis knows exactly what I'm talking about. Slowly but surely, we are opening up these layers of conversation. So for some of us, it feels slow. For some of us, it feels exactly right. And just acknowledging that we're all at different paces for our own growth and our own being with these topics that we've been bringing up over these 2 years. So I see we are coming in from Winchester, Massachusetts, Arlington, Massachusetts, Southern California. The birds are singing and it's sunny. Let's all go there. No, it's good to see where we're all coming from. Wilmette, Illinois, Sarasota, Florida, Columbus, Ohio, Augusta, Georgia, Westchester, New York. Catherine is here from Saratoga Springs. Wonderful. Great to have you here for the first time. We've got sunny Boise. We've got welcomes coming to Catherine. And yeah, a happy 2 years here from Hartford, Connecticut, Sweden. Oh, so good. Francis shared listening to the song Freedom by Jean-Baptiste, who is a big Grammy winner, wonderful. So part of my birthday gift to myself. Wonderful, Deborah, happy birthday. We've got hellos from New York City, Chile, Green Bay. Happy anniversary from Chile, Green Bay. We've got dancers to freedom, so we might have to do a little dance. Happy birthdays coming in to Deborah. Wonderful. And I'm just going to check and see if we have any updates from YouTube. And then we will just settle in together. Let's see, we've got morning from Minnesota, New Hampshire, spring is here, Austin, Texas in the house, Owatonna, Minnesota. Wonderful. So there's all of us coming in. We are landing here from all of our different places and building our circle that we build and rebuild each week and grow each week. So for 2 years now. And I will just say, I woke up this morning and I just felt this, I will say there have been weeks that I'm like, I don't know that I want to do this because I don't know that I want to face it every week, have to do it. And this morning I woke up and I felt I get to do it. I get to do this. And I just know that we oscillate between those things. And I really am just so grateful that I get to do this with all of you, that I get to hold this space and be here in our circle together. So For those of you who may be brand new, I welcome you into this, that we get to do this experience together of just being together, of exploring our practices. Today is a practice session. Often we have teachers who are coming in, and I love to hold the space and share the little bits of my own journey and learning, because I feel it's something that we can all connect around. And we'll do a little practice at the beginning, and then we will move into breakout groups, which is where the magic happens. And we get to meet each other and to just deeply listen to one another, and hopefully see each other at our highest potential, and then create the space and the spaciousness that we can step into that as we go forward in our week. So that's our little hour together, and I invite us to land here. So if you can get your feet on the ground, we do a little tiny practice to just get our first little landing, our first centering. And if you feel your feet on the ground, just feeling a sense of connection to the floor, perhaps your body on the chair, on the seat. You can tune into the breath. And perhaps lower your gaze or close your eyes, whichever is in your practice. And just begin to notice the quality of the breath. And I find as soon as I start to attend, as soon as my attention goes to the breath, then it starts to change. Perhaps it gets a little deeper. Apparently in the United States, we only breathe with the top 10% of our lungs. So maybe we just breathe into the full, even let's get 90% of the lungs. We breathe fully into the lungs, go for 100. Filling up the belly, filling up the chest and the collarbones. And then exhaling out completely. We'll do 3 of those just to land. Filling up the belly, filling up the chest, the collarbones, and exhaling out fully and completely. On your own, taking another breath. We'll just stay here for a full minute of stillness together. And when you're ready, you can reconnect with the screen. Maybe take another breath. Just take in the gallery view. We're going to do a little deeper version of our seeing each other. So we're going to take a moment and just pick 4 boxes. We've done this before. And we'll just take 4 boxes, and we're really going to allow ourselves to see these 4 boxes. So you can flip through the gallery and just pick 4 boxes. It could be the top corner, it could be the bottom corner, it could be right in the middle. Just pick 4 boxes and take these women in. Take these people, these human beings who've joined here from their own place, and begin to see them. Just see, just allowing ourselves to see and be seen. And this just as part of our practice of coming together, allowing ourselves to see and be seen is such a part of allowing ourselves to come together. And then I'd like to invite you to drop into feeling. And I feel like in Zoom, it kind of feels like, oh, we're this, it's a screen, it's a box. But already when we're seen and we're seeing each other, I can see us start to smile, we connect. And so beyond the eyes, I'd like to invite us to see with the whole face, with the whole body, as if we had little eyes all over the body, and we could really feel the people in those 4 boxes. We could really feel them. Just really feeling those 4 people, just being with them, really feeling them, and allowing ourselves, the same way that we see and we can be seen, allowing ourselves to be felt. Allowing ourselves to be felt, to feel and be felt. I'm here. It can feel good to be felt. It can feel scary at first, but it can feel good to feel and be felt. And through Zoom. So just knowing that this is part of our being together, this is part of our landing, is seeing each other, feeling each other, being in this circle together, knowing that we have this capability to really allow ourselves to feel and allow ourselves to see. And that is so much, Deborah shared that this is her birthday gift to herself. Being able to show up here. This is our gift to ourselves, to allow ourselves to see and be seen, to feel and be felt, and to really come together. So I'd love to hear from each of us, what brought you here today? What brought you here to this Women Together session, to this moment, and to this maybe topic of coming together? And you can just type in the chat what's coming up for you. What really brought you here today? Connection with other women, life, love, truth, celebrating spring, getting support from this tribe, returning to this lovely community. It's what I do on Tuesday mornings. I love it. These are our healthy habits coming together. Spring opening, a weekly break. A song brought me here. Suzanne, I love it. I would love to hear the song. Widen my circle of women. I'm a teacher on spring break, so happy to make it to WT. Catherine, it's great, or Elizabeth, it's great to have you. After 2 years, I need my time to be with others fully and stretch myself. The possibility of being surprised. Wow. Yeah, these are, this is what brings us together. The possibility of being surprised, taking the time that we actually need for ourselves. And I will say that over the last 8 days, or last week, pretty much up to Sunday, I actually have been doing a program, but I was on a retreat as part of this program. And so for 8 days, doing all the healthy things, meditating in the morning, doing my practices, going deeply into my own emotions and being fully, in myself. And I have to say, I feel so much more in my body than I have maybe in a long time. And it was, I love this, like, are we still dancing at home, from Francis, and Sherry says, gotta dance. That when we're in our bodies, we're moving, the energy is moving. So for me, the topic of coming together, when we initially came up with this in the team, it felt like there's so much happening in the world. There's so many hard things. There's so much polarization. And it felt like what we need to talk about is coming together. And then it was, and this is 2 years that we've been coming together. And then after this week, I felt, well, actually what coming together is much, much deeper and much, much more powerful. Um, because part of what we're doing when we're coming together is actually we're integrating ourselves. We're bringing our whole selves to this. And the way that we come together in the world and what we're doing, and all of the hard things that we're seeing of what's happening in the world, the way that we start that is actually by coming together ourselves. So I'd love to share a little bit about of my thinking and what's been coming up for me about that. And then I invite us to move into a little meditation practice and then connection with each other. Um, so a little bit of my thoughts about this. I've been working with a teacher, Thomas Hubel, who some of us know and are aware of. And he talks about the we space and healing collective trauma and collective healing. What does that mean? And one of the pieces of this is looking at how do we come into a place of presence. A lot of the teachers that we've had have brought us into this really wonderful place where we feel like we're in flow, we feel everything vibrating, we feel creative, we feel like we can express ourselves. And what does it take to actually get to that place? What happens is that parts of us along the road, somewhere along the road, we have these things that have happened to us, these experiences, or these, elements of our lives. Some of those things have been really hard. Some of them have been really joyful. But sometimes when they're hard, we kind of leave them there. We leave them in the past, and we develop really great mechanisms for isolating those things and never having to look at it again. I was talking to my mom this morning, and I was just chatting with her about some of the stuff in our family history that we do, that we just never really talk about, and we don't ever really need to say, and it's okay. And we make it all okay. We sort of paper around it, the sadness, the anger, the hard stuff. And by doing that, we actually are investing a lot of energy in keeping that sort of stuck there. So we've had Arwana in who shared exercises to move through the stuck. And what she invites us into is actually being with that stuck place rather than, oh, it's okay, I don't want to talk about it. It's fine. Let's talk about something else. Anything. Just talk about anything. My mom was saying she starts looking at census data because she'll just look at anything and she's been a sociologist and all these things. So we all have our ways, and some of us have developed careers and lives to not have to look at it. And so what does coming together actually mean? It means allowing ourselves to actually be with those parts that we've left stuck. And Jackie Sussman came in last week, and she gave us a really beautiful tool to be able to do that, this inner vision, really being with that part of ourselves, she allowed a part of ourselves to jump out and kind of be with that. And that invitation to just be with that for even a few moments is an invitation for us to bring those fragmented parts of ourselves back into alignment, into wholeness and integration. So that we do it on an individual level, but we also begin to do that in the collective. And in many ways, that's what we've been doing for 2 years. We've been finding different practices. We've been dancing our way through it. We've been giving ourselves the ability to kind of come down from this like little box of a head, that's in our Zoom screen, and enter the body and be here in this whole being. So I invite us to continue coming together as all of us here in this circle. I keep looking at each of you, but also to come together here as a sense of wholeness and being fully who we are. Eileen talks a lot about voice and having my voice and how important that is. And it's not about who can speak the loudest or who can talk over each other and, who can say it the strongest. It's about the fact that each of us has something to share. So when we come together, we're making space for each other, we're making space for ourselves, and we're really listening to each other. And there's such magic that happens because we are creating that space to be heard and to really allow ourselves to be in the fullness of who we are. So that's what I've loved about coming together with our Women Together Connect space. And I, look forward to continuing to do it. But for right now, perhaps we take a moment and just be with ourselves. Suzanne, thank you. Suzanne said, I sang the song to my heart in the body, and tears can flow like a river. And I just stay with that, where whatever's coming, whatever it is that comes up for us, that we can be with that. We can stay with the tears, we can stay with the pain of something. So when we see the news or we see something in our own lives and it feels hard and scary and sad, that we can actually be with it rather than kind of papering over it or putting some really, beautiful fabric on that makes me feel better, although that helps. um, but that, we can really be with it and we can allow it to land. For me, I have anger that I can just access that at any time for a lot of different great reasons. But what I realized for me is that anger is moving through. It's partially mine, but it's actually partly, all of ours. It's the women's anger, it's the feminine anger, it's the anger that the earth has. So I can tap into that and I can access that when I need it. So for me, I'm in the very feeling place, and my coming together is about reorienting around our own bodies, our own selves. And I'd like to invite us into a little moment of being able to do that. So we can come back to our little earlier meditation and getting our feet on the ground. Take a breath and perhaps close your eyes, relax. Or don't relax, whatever's coming up is great. Just being with what is. And as you take a breath here, noticing the parts of the body that feel really open, feel clear and relaxed. And then bring the attention to the parts of the body that may feel a little tense. Maybe some of us feel, well, that's all of the body. Whatever it is, just being with what the feeling is. Perhaps picking one part. Maybe it's one shoulder, one hip. Just being with wherever it is. And really feeling the feeling of the tenseness. Is the tension gripping? Is it a pain? Is it sharp? Is it dull? Just being with it, not trying to fix or change it, just allowing ourselves to be with that part. And then perhaps bring the breath to it, just being with it, bringing the breath to that part of the body. And noticing if there's a feeling that comes up or if it's just numb. Just noticing what comes up and being with it. And if there is an emotion there, just allowing yourself to be with it. Perhaps there's sadness. Perhaps there's anger. Perhaps there's something in there that represents a past hurt. Think, oh, that part in my hip is that fight I got into that time. Just being with it. Oh, that part is where I opened the news and saw what's happening. Whatever comes up, just creating a little bit of space around it. Maybe asking, can I give this a little space? Can I bring a little softness to this tension? Can I welcome it in? Just as it is. When you're ready, you can bring yourself to paper and a pen and just jot down anything that may be coming up for you. If there's a tension in the body that brought up a memory, you can write that down. If there's a feeling that comes up, maybe a note to the self of, can I bring a softness to this? Can I bring an awareness to it? Can I use the breath as a resource for this tension? Can I dance with this? Perhaps it's a yes, yes, yes. Perhaps it's a nope, not yet. And just noticing what's there today. And just for a moment, as you journal, recognizing that we're not alone in that. That we're all sitting here with some tension or the other, something we need to dance with, or we can dance with, that we can learn from, that we can be with. It's part of being human. And sometimes we feel so alone and so separate, and oh, I'm so constricted in my body, and here it is. And when we breathe a little bit and we can notice, oh, there's 40 people on Zoom and 20 plus more on YouTube, or 30 more on YouTube who are also feeling this. And that's just in our little circle. So just recognizing that we are more than this this experience. There's more of us. So to further that end, we will start our connection with each other in breakouts. And for those of us on YouTube, we can turn and continue to our journals, or I invite you to connect with nature, connect with another human being today, even if it's a phone call, and just saying hello and just knowing that each of us is walking with some little tension, some little part in the hip and the shoulder and the elbow, wherever it is, and that part of the body is holding so much more. And that if we can be with that stuck place, there may be more available to us. And if we can be with each other, we can actually come together in ourselves and also come together with a much wider connection. And that can be a resource. So as we move into breakouts, for those of us here in Zoom, as I said, this is where the magic happens. This is it. So we will turn to each other and really just deeply listen to each other. You can introduce yourself, share your name, where you're coming from. Some of us may know each other, some may not at this point, and 2 years in. And we can share just what's coming up. What is it that, I am sitting with? And the thing that I would invite in today, 2 things. To really speak from what's going on, not just sharing about it. This is a Thomas Hubel thing for sure. So speaking from my experience rather than about what's happening. And I find that so useful. We've talked about these levels of listening. We talk about really dropping in to really listen deeply to each other. And also really listening into ourselves, to what's wanting to be spoken in this. So that's my invitation, number 1. Number 2 is radical honesty. So it doesn't mean you need to say everything. Doesn't mean you need to go like, here's the deepest, hardest thing that I'm dealing with, or, keeping it super light. Maybe it's something in the 3 to 7 range, but whatever it is that you share is really coming from a place of what's true for me. Which I notice I paper over things and I'm like, I want to be right. I want to be good. I want to come off with this vibe, whatever it is. And in this, I know many of us have already gone way past this, but radical honesty, just an opening to an invitation. So introduce yourselves, share with, this kind of real honesty, speaking from your experience. And as I say almost every time, we don't know what the person in front of us had for breakfast, let alone what they may be going through in their lives. So just, really deeply listening. Doreen just asked, what does speaking from mean? And I would say that it's kind of, I've talked about I statements in here before. So I say, I go to the store, rather than saying, that time when you go to the store and it feels like this. So that's a bit of speaking from my own experience. One way to do that is really using the I. The other thing is when speaking about an emotional experience, it's about, instead of saying, when my hip hurts, this is what happens. It's, and speaking about this, it's speaking actually from, oh, I feel my hip, and in my hip, there is this feeling, and this is what's happening for me, and speaking just from your experience. And we'll just try that. And if it doesn't feel comfortable for you, just noticing, oh, or I still don't understand that. Oh, okay. That's a place for us to keep learning and growing. So it's just an invitation and something to try. And if it doesn't feel right for you today, that is all good. The most important thing is just sharing with each other, coming together, and seeing what's up for us. So have a wonderful time. We'll be in the breakouts for 20 minutes to really try and give ourselves some time together. Have a wonderful time in the breakouts, and I'll see you back here in 20 minutes.